Hello, everybody. We're going to start while the rest of the folks mosey on in. It's great to see such a great crowd and all of you guys on Facebook. I know many of you, but not all of you. My name's Steve Edelman, and I founded TCOID many years ago with Sandra Bordet, who's here today. She's in your program guide. And this is actually only our second weekend event. The first one was last year. Some of you have been to our all-day conferences that we have around the country that we've been putting on since 1995, if you can believe that. And we had such an incredible time last year. We said we got to do it again. And I have I'm myself so excited about this weekend. Jeremy and Tricia, who I'll introduce in a minute, because you have not only being around peeps that know what's going on with type 1. Some of you have no clue what's going on with type 1, but which is why you're here. And some awesome speakers, dedicated speakers. And let me just go through some introductions. I mean, really tonight is time to visit our exhibitors, our sponsors lounge, and to get to know each other, have dinner after we finish, and schmooze around and listen. And I'll introduce David Panzier, who's from the Helmsley Charitable Trust. Very lucky to have him out here. So I thought I would show a slide where we're all from here. So we have, believe it or not, 47 states. And yeah. Those little darker stars are our speakers. And we have people here from Canada, including two of our faculty, actually three of our faculty. And we have someone, if you don't recognize that flag, it's not Italy, it's the United Arab Emirates. So welcome. And we got people from the UK, you know, the Prime Minister, Theresa May, has type 1, and she's here. No, I'm just kidding. You know, I used to say, people were having a conference for people from Hawaii, and someone said to me last year, "Hey, Dr. Edelman, that's Alaska." I go, "Okay, shoot, I never was good at geography." Here's a picture of most of our team. We have a new member that couldn't get into the photo in time, and these are a bunch of really hardworking people dedicated to putting on these conferences all over the country, our regular TCOID conferences, where we have a type 1 track and also a type 2 track. And I can't tell you how much work it is to put on a conference like this. And you'll see that it's very well organized. And I really owe it to the staff that makes me look good and gives TCOID such a great reputation. This is just a big thank you to our sponsors. I can't tell you all the details, or you don't want to hear them, but putting on these events are super expensive, and the registration that you pay is actually a fraction of the cost. Because when you go to a hotel like this, everything is all the meals, and they say plus tax and tip and exhibit hall and AV. These guys are charging us an arm and a leg. No, I'm kidding. And so I want to really give a special thanks out to our Rage Bolus sponsor, Dexcom, and our no-hitter, Lexicon. Some of you don't know, even heard of Lexicon, but they're partnering with Sanofi to come up with an oral medication, sotagliflozin, for people with type 1. You're going to hear about that from Ann Peters. And of course, Novo Nordisk and Insulet and Sanofi, and everybody on this screen helped underwrite the cost of the conference. And I'm going to give them another quick thanks when we get to the different meals that we're going to have. This is just a thank you. All of these folks donated to TCOID in one way or another through the years, and they're here today. So thank you very much. We appreciate that. And I want to give thanks to the people that make the Xeno Bar and the Kula suntan lotion that you received in your bag, and they just donated the product. And you can see down here, it's only two net carbs. Look at all that fiber. Make sure you know where the bathroom is during the conference. This is our fundraiser T-shirt, which is really just more of a fun thing. You can pick it up at the registration, and don't worry, if you want to get one afterwards, you'll get an email, and you can get a special, and it has the date of the conference as well too. We always have a fundraiser at every conference. We always trying to raise money to underwrite the things that we do. We gave many folks scholarships to come here that couldn't afford the registration fee. And our goal is $7,500. And I always like to start it off, and I'm gonna donate $500 to start it off. And great, thank you. And you didn't have to clap, but I appreciate it. And you can donate at our TCOYD booth in the Sunset Ballroom. Now, this is Aviana and Gigi. These are the two daughters of Tricia Santos, who I will do a short introduction, and then I will let her come up. And you see Gigi right here? She has a nickname, and that's it, Trouble. And I got that from her mom. So Jeremy and Tricia, they're two very special people to me. They put as much effort into this conference as I did. They both are endocrinologists, actually did their residency at UCSD. They were chief residents, meaning that they sort of were some of the best residents you can find. They stayed on an extra year to organize. And I can tell you more about Jeremy, but let me finish up with Tricia. And Tricia, did her fellowship at UCSD, joined faculty, and really is an incredible educator. She's one of the few professionals that I know that can actually give a lecture to patients on their level, engage them, but also speak to healthcare professionals. And healthcare professionals, God, they need a lot of help. And they really do. And once they graduate their training, it's hard to keep up with all the advances in diabetes. Now, I'm not sure if anybody here that knows Tricia knows this fact, but she was in national competition for synchronized swimming and was Olympic level status. And I never knew that about you, Tricia. Her husband, Joe, told me that if you look at the old Dr. Pepper American Express commercials, they sponsored the Olympic team, and Tricia apparently was in the commercial. So I'd like to find those, And Tricia has been intimately involved with taking control of your diabetes, traveling to most of our conferences around the country, and she's. I'll say one more thing about her. This is the type of person she is. She met her husband Joe on a blind date. Being the responsible guy that he is, he showed up totally drunk, could barely stand, and she just overlooked that, and she married him. Now, Jeremy, and it's really interesting that Jeremy and Tricia, they did a lot of their training together. Resident, chief resident, fellowship, and faculty. So when I first met Jeremy, and there's so many stories, I don't have enough time, is that he introduced himself to me. I was in diabetes clinic. He was a resident, and he just said, "Yeah, I have type 1," and he telling me that he's on NPH and regular, using syringes, and never heard of a CGM. And I think you were going to go into, was it cardiology? Or I keep saying it was emergency dermatology, but it was one of those things. And through the years, we have become very close friends, and we both got type 1 when we were 15, and every time we turn around, there's something that we have in common. We both like Rocky Road ice cream. We just went to conference on Tuesday. We walked out a little earlier. We were both complaining how bad the sandwiches was, and I said, "Yeah, I got egg salad sandwich." She goes, "That's the one I got." And so we have a lot of things in common. I've got to know his wife, yeah, a lot more than food. And Jeremy also has been intimately involved with TCOYD, and Jeremy has really made a name for himself in terms of creating a research center at UCSD specializing in type 1 diabetes research. Tricia works with him as well. And you'll probably all get an email afterwards, the ones of you that live in San Diego, if you want to be interested in some of the studies. So Jeremy is the proud father of Cooper and Hudson, born just a few weeks ago. And there's Cooper, who just turned 3. And Cooper and his dad, Jeremy, they look so much alike. It's amazing. Oh my God. They got this arm thing going when they sleep. That's got to be genetic. So with that, I'm going to let Trisha come up and say a few words, and Jeremy, then I'll give you a few more housekeeping type of things, and I'll introduce David Panzier.
Okay.